This program is made by MPT to enrich the diverse communities throughout our state and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you.
You are looking at the iconic Fairhill Special Event Zone in Cecil County. It's a big sports day here on Maryland Public Television. We're bringing you the fourth and final day of the Mars Maryland 5-Star at Fairhill, presented by Brown Advisory. Hello, everyone. I'm Nancy Yamada on the MPT Sports Desk. Thanks for joining us. If you're on the go today, you can still catch all the action from Fairhill on your phone or any mobile device. Just go to mpt.org/livestream and click on the button. Okay, let's head out to the Fairhill right now and check in with Austin O'Connor. Austin was the 2023 winner of the Maryland 5-Star. Big win for you, Austin. You were the first Irish rider to win the 5-Star in close to 60 years. Take us back to that day. How challenging was it, and what do you recall about the win?
Oh, sure. The win was surreal, a surreal moment in my life. To be here at Maryland, competing and taking part in the 5-Star was an incredible situation. But to go on and win it, as I say, was just surreal and was without doubt the best day of my life.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you were behind after the first competition. Is that right?
Yeah, so I would have been lying about 10th place after dressage, and after the speed and endurance element to cross country, I moved up to 4th, and then I was lucky enough to jump a clear round in the stadium behind us, and everybody else, the three that came in after me, because it's all in reverse order of merit, all had some fences down. So I started middle of the field and I worked my way up to win.
That's amazing. Now, of the three main competitions, what is the hardest?
Today, we're all it's like adrenaline junkies in this sport. So the cross country phase, from our point of view, from the public's point of view, is the biggest challenge, and it's where we get our rush, and it's where, you know, primarily the competition is won and lost. Well, not won and lost, but the biggest influence is the cross country day on the Saturday.
Talk to us.
Especially here in Maryland, which is one of the toughest cross-country courses in the world.
Absolutely. And I hear that the course changes every year. Talk about this year's competition. What are you seeing? Are there any surprises?
No, they have a new course designer this year, Pierre from France. He's taken over from the legendary Ian Stark, who did the previous 4 years. He certainly kept the standard very high, but he put his own feel to it, so it was still a tough challenge. But there was changes, and he put his own new mark on it, but it kept to the same standard.
We have less than a minute now before we go. You were riding Colorado Blue when you won. I've heard that you call him the horse of a lifetime. Why is that? Well,
he's been, I've been lucky enough to win here. I've had 4 podium finishes at the 3 biggest competitions in the world. I've had a lot of horses in my life and ride a lot of horses, but these extra special horses to come and win in places like here, they don't come around very often.
Sure.
He's not just a horse; he's a great friend to us, and yeah, I owe him a lot.
So would you say that is key, really, is the relationship between the horse and the rider?
Yeah, ultimately in this sport, it's all about partnership. You've got to trust the horse has got to trust you, and you've just got to be a team.
Okay, Austin, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the last day of competition.
We certainly will. Thank you.
In a moment, we'll talk to the Maryland 5-Star president and CEO. But first, a preview of the charity show jumping event aimed at raising funds for retired thoroughbreds.
They have such a big heart that they want to please, and they're very competitive.
Anita Motion, the founder of the Real Rider Cup, says the off-track thoroughbreds in the charity show jumping event are a sight to behold, along with the industry professionals who are hoping to bring home the win for a good cause.
We have had teams of jockeys, we've had teams of trainers, We've had teams of racing broadcast personalities, so people that are on TV presenting the races. We've had veterinarians.
They share a common goal of raising money for the aftercare and retraining efforts of retired horses. The 3 nonprofit beneficiaries include New Vocations, Beyond the Wire, and the Retired Racehorse Project.
So all of our organizations are going to be utilizing the funds in different ways. For us, one of the biggest things that we do as an organization is an event called the Thoroughbred Makeover, which is a retraining competition, and that's kind of our flagship thing.
Kirsten Green with the Retired Racehorse Project says the thoroughbreds are usually ready to retire after 5 or 6 years of age.
All of those horses have skills that translate over to other things, and that's really what we're trying to promote. You know, it's not like they're thrown away and washed up or anything. It's just, this is just what the life cycle of the thoroughbred breed looks like to us. So we're just really trying to make sure that there's a smooth transition and that there's demand and that these horses get the resources and support that they need to go from one phase of their career to the next.
Most horses have a very productive second career in them, and they do live some of them till they're 30 years plus. So there's a lot of time left after their racing career, which needs to be filled. And, you know, they can live very productive lives for a long time, and they are, you know, would be very suitable for any discipline.
And though it may be a charity event, Motion says the riders take the competition seriously.
It's often the combination of confidence and skill. You have to get around as quickly as you can and as clean as you can, because for every rail that you hit or knock down, you add 4 seconds to your time. Every refusal or run out is another 4 seconds.
A real show that will ultimately benefit these horses well after their days competing in the arena. Joining us now is the Mars Maryland 5-star president and CEO, Jeff Newman. Jeff, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Tell us how this event has really grown in the last 5 years. You were there from the very beginning.
Yeah, so first off, thank you for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. Maryland Public Television has been a great partner of the event since the start. And so our first year was 2021, coming off the pandemic. And each year we've grown, and now we're at over 32,000 people. You know, we're broadcast, live streamed all over the world, regionally here with Maryland Public Television. So it's just an event that's really leapfrogged pretty significantly in a very short period of time.
And for spectators, this is really special because this is really one of only 2 5-star equestrian events in the U.S., right?
And just the 7th worldwide. So we became the 7th back in 2020 when we were given the opportunity to host this 5-star. 5-star is the pinnacle of the sport of eventing. It's the highest level. It's basically the grand slam of the sports. So yes, we feel great. Maryland has something really unique and special here that there's only 2 in the U.S. and 7 in the world.
Now, Maryland has become a hub of equestrian activity, and this also coincides with Maryland Horse Month, is my understanding. But why has Maryland become so big in the industry?
Well, first off, there are more horses per square mile in Maryland than any other state. And Cecil County also has more horses per square mile than most counties. So it's a perfect location to host this type of event. And the sport of eventing, actually, Maryland has more eventing competitions than any other state as well. So add all those together and it's the perfect location.
Now let's talk about the competition. This is really the ultimate test, not just for the horses, but the riders as well.
Yes, so think about Major League Baseball. Like, we're Major League Baseball. There's a lot other levels underneath. There's 4-star, 3-star, 2, 1, and beginner. So 5-star is the top of the sport. It's the Grand Slam. So you have to have the best of the best, both as from the horse side as well as the rider side. And what makes it unique is the 2 have to compete together equally as one. And what even makes it more special is men and women compete together on the same stage together, competing for the prize. So it really is a chance. The sport came around from really to get horses and riders ready for battle. It was a cavalry test. So it starts with dressage, which really tests the, the technique of the horse and rider. And then yesterday when we had the cross country, that's about the endurance and the ability to go through water and trees, et cetera. And then show jumping culminates today with the agility. So all three of those combined is really just testing the horse and the rider that they can do all of these skills together at once, over the course of these last 3 days.
I heard you say this is similar to an Ironman, essentially, right? They have to be good at all of these events.
Exactly. It's an equestrian triathlon. So like a triathlon, like Ironman competition, certain horses and riders, they may be better at one phase than the other, but you have to be good at all three, and that's what makes it special. So lowest score wins, like golf, the least penalty points from not making the time. Obviously, if horse and rider, if there was an incident where a rider fell off, you're out of the competition. So that's what culminates today. So it really is exciting. You get sort of 3 chapters by seeing dressage, cross country, and then show jumping. So it's what makes it sport competition versus racing.
Tell us more about the participants, the riders.
So they come from all over the world, yeah. So we've had riders from Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, Great Britain, obviously to compete against the U.S. So it's sort of like a Ryder Cup, if you will, of equestrian sport. So every country wants to showcase that they're obviously the preeminent equestrian sport country. So they come from all over to compete. So it's pretty exciting. And
you said that some of the horses come from overseas as well.
They do. They hitch a ride on commercial as well as cargo planes, depends upon the time of year. But it's a significant process. They come by plane, and then we have ground transportation that takes them from quarantine, and then they arrive at the site and hopefully ready to compete.
Absolutely. What do you anticipate to be the impact of the 5-star on the state, but also particularly Cecil County?
So last year, the economic impact was just over 19 million. So between all of the visitors, heads and beds, is an event you have to drive to. So all the gas and everything that comes with coming to an outdoor event. But it's significant. And Cecil County has a tremendous amount of restaurants and bars and places that you can go while you're here. So our motto is come for the event, stay for the experience. And we want to be the place to be in October. So there's a lot to do here in Cecil County, but it creates economic impact for the state. So obviously having Maryland Public Television broadcast it, live stream it, certainly gets awareness. And then we want people to come out. And once they come out, they're going to be hooked.
And for the spectators, there's really a lot more to do and see beyond just the competition, right?
Sure. So throughout the week, we've had special events. We have a local fresh food fest today showcasing local growers. We have Kids Corner. We have pony racing. We have our Corgi Cup today with 125 Corgis lined up. So there's something for everyone, and families can come out, a beautiful fall time of year in Cecil County, and they can bring their dog and really the whole family.
Let's talk about that Corgi Cup. I have seen footage of it, and it is hysterical. I mean, it's the highlight for a lot of people, one of the highlights.
Oh, people buy tickets just to see the Corgis. It really is something, again, we want to bring audiences that are not just equestrian fans. So we try to have something for everyone, and who doesn't like dogs?
What do you anticipate? Is there anything new that you'd like to bring to this 5-star event in the future?
Well, I just want to continue to create what this means to Maryland. I think a lot of people realize that the Preakness, for example, is a prize of the state. We want people to think the same way about the Maryland 5-star at Fair Hill. This is a big deal for Maryland. So I think we just want to create and build that prestige, and we want people to really come out and see something that's great for Maryland.
And for the spectators, do people come from all over?
Yeah, so I mentioned it before. It's like tennis and golf, where people want to see a Grand Slam. So a lot of the equestrian fans and eventing fans from all over the world, they'll say, I want to check the box that I've been to all of them. So it brings people from internationally, nationally, and regionally, and of course here in Cecil County. So that's the goal, is we want people to come to Maryland, spend their dollars in Maryland, create that economic impact, while at the same time just having a real fun time in Cecil County.
Jeff Newman with the Mars Maryland 5-star. You're the president and CEO. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So let's break it down. 5-Star is a 4-day event that tests both the overall ability of the horse as well as the skill and judgment of the rider. The first phase is dressage, which takes place over 2 days and shows the relationship between horse and rider with an emphasis on obedience and harmony. Phase 2 took place yesterday with cross country, a nearly 4-mile test of endurance with about 50 jumps. Today is the final phase, show jumping, where penalties are incurred for knocking down a jump, failing to jump, or exceeding the time limit. The horse and rider with the least number of combined penalties is the winner. When you're watching the Maryland 5-Star competition, you'll notice the riders wearing special gear. Our Charles Robinson goes shopping to find out what kind of gear they need to compete.
We're so lucky that the 5-Star is right down the road from us. We are a retailer of all the things that 5-Star riders use. So knowing that one of the 7 biggest events in the world is in our backyard, it was just a no-brainer.
It has been a windfall for Kimberly Chick and her husband, who own Fair Hills Saddlery. In addition to having a brick and mortar store, they also set up shop on the site at the Maryland 5-Star.
There's 2 main disciplines of the big umbrella of horseback riding. So you see the English side, which is what we'll see at the 5-Star. And then there's Western riding, which when you think of the Wild West or cowboys, that's more the style that they ride in. So there's definitely equipment differences, apparel differences, safety equipment differences. So we primarily focused here on the English discipline.
Well, I just want to let everybody know I'm 6'3" tall, and I've asked them to dress me or at least get me close enough to show you what it all looks like. So let's go over here and take a look.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to get ready to ride cross country. Why don't you tell everybody what I have on?
Great. You have 2 very important pieces of equipment. You have a hard shell, which is required equipment for all riders out on cross country. This protects your bones and internal organs if you fall off, get stepped on, rolled over on. Super great piece of equipment. And then on top, we've put an air vest, which is optional equipment. So just like you have an airbag in your car, this is an airbag while you ride horses. So if you depart your horse unexpectedly, this will explode in less than a second and you have a nice airbag to land on.
Well, this is just the beginning of the process because there's some other gear that you have to wear.
We need tall boots. So all riders wear a nice pair of tall boots. A new feature is they zipper up the back, which ensures a really great fit.
And when you put it all together, what does it look like?
We have this great mannequin. This is all together with your show shirt, a show tie, a nice tailored coat, and then you'll have your pants and boots on the bottom.
So let's try on this hat.
Okay, so we're gonna put on the Charles Owen Halo. This is a very popular helmet amongst the riders you'll see at the 5-Star. There you are, sir. Excellent.
Ta-da.
We ship nationwide, Alaska, Puerto Rico, Hawaii. We offer safety fitting services worldwide. I've done Zoom fittings in Japan and South Africa for people that just need support with their safety equipment. So we schedule a Zoom, we talk, and help them find the best items for their needs. We are one of the largest helmet retailers in the country, and that's something we're very proud of. Right here in the beginning of the wall are helmets from Charles Owen. They are a leader in safety and innovation within the safety world. And most of these helmets, this row above, are all handmade in the UK. And I've been in their factory and I've watched the process, and it's really impressive to watch.
The store has a plethora of materials for the novice and experienced riders. Chick reminds me stores like this are dwindling, yet she is surviving. In Elkton, Maryland, I'm Charles Robinson for the MPT Sports Desk.
Joining us now is the Maryland 5-Star Competition Director, Joni Morris. Welcome, Joni. Tell us a little more about the competition and how the events differ.
Sure. So this is one of 7 5-star events in the world, and they're very difficult to qualify for. So you're looking at the best of the best here. The 3 phases, so it's a triathlon. These horses are the ultimate athletes, and in the opinion of many, because they have to do 3 very different phases, and the culmination of those phases ends up being their score. So the dressage is the first phase. That's what gives them their base penalty score. All the horses and riders do the same movement, so they're judged against a test versus each other in theory, like in figure skating when everyone does the same pattern. And then the next day is cross country, where there's an optimum time, so it's not like a race. Basically, the course is measured, there's a designated speed, and the horses that complete the course with no penalties closest to that time add no points to their dressage score. It then culminates on Sunday, which is the most exciting day as far as the wrap-up, because it's a show jumping course. It requires a huge amount of detailed attention. It's really technical, and you obviously want to add no penalties to that score, and the lowest score wins. So you're asking a horse to basically figure skate, run a marathon, and then come back and do an agility course.
And I imagine that this really does require so much of the horses and the riders, given that it's back to back. It's not that they don't have a lot of downtime between these events.
No, they don't. I mean, letting the horses rest and have that sort of downtime between the days is really important. But these horses are taken care of better than you could even imagine. So they have grooms that travel with them that make sure that they have everything that they want and need. They have physios that work on them. So they get treated like the elite athletes they are. And the horses and riders have a huge amount of experience together at all the competitions that build up to these events. So they come up with a system that works to produce the horses to get them to have their best performance on any given day.
Are horses in general, do they like to please? Are they easy to train for these kind of events?
The best horses are what we call the most trainable. So to be the best eventing horses in the world, they have to be really good athletes, obviously, but it's no good if they're a really good athlete, but they're not really interested in doing what you want them to do. So these horses are highly trainable, the ones that you're seeing here, and they love this sport. It takes a long time to get the experience and the training to compete at the highest level of the sport. So these horses and riders are working together day in, day out. Like I said, the grooms are working with them, day in and day out, taking care of them, figuring out what makes them tick, what they need to perform at their best. And these horses, they enjoy the sport, and they just, you see them getting ready for cross country, and they light up and they're really excited, and then they come out here and they're super focused for the show jumping, and it's pretty cool. And we've been following some of these horses for a long time. Some of them competed at the 3-star here, in previous years, or some of the horses are coming up through the young event horse program into the 3-star and 5-star level. So you see them develop, and it's like watching kids grow up, and all of a sudden you're seeing them on the world stage and watching them excel, and it's really cool.
Generally speaking, how old are these horses when they're most competitive?
About 12 would be the sweet spot, but that would be the average age. But there's some 10-year-olds and then up to 17, 18-year-old horses. There's some real longevity in the horses doing this, which is a testament again to how well they're taken care of and how much they enjoy the sport. And the surfaces they compete on, like here at Fair Hill, this turf is second to none. You can see how green it is. You walk on it and it's like a spongy cushion. And the main arenas that they show jump and do their dressage on are the same. It's a science project to get these surfaces all prepared, and we have a huge team that works on that, and that makes it much easier on the horses, to run on these good surfaces than, in the old days when it was just however the ground was. Well, now we're out here watering and aerating and preparing everything to make it perfect, so the horses get the absolute best facilities to perform on.
I imagine the weather plays a role in the competition.
Absolutely. Last year we had a horrible drought all summer and into the early fall. And we actually put 300,000 gallons of water on the surfaces between the arenas and the cross-country course for the horses to compete on. And it was a Herculean effort. The team that works on this event, they're flat out anyways, and this was a whole added component. This year the weather's been a little bit kinder to us, but not as much rain as we would have liked. So again, there's been tons of preparation and work going into it. But the competition happens, rain or shine. So depending on it's an outdoor sport, and we have diehard fans that come out no matter what, and the horses and riders just respond to it. But it can certainly change the nature of the competition. If it's really, really wet and the ground's muddy, then maybe the cross-country course runs a little bit slower and you have to take a little bit more time. But the turf here is so good that we're really fortunate that it seems to be able to withstand just about anything Mother Nature could throw at us.
You mentioned about the horse and the rider, that relationship. How important is chemistry when it comes to competing.
It's so critical. I mean, these horses, they know their people, they know their job, and it takes a long time to prepare a horse to get to this level. There's a qualifying process you have to go through. So, Nancy, you couldn't just say, oh, I think I'm going to take up eventing and buy a 5-star horse and take it to the event next year without going through all the other levels that you have to build up to get to this point. So that starts at the 1- and 2-star level, then the 3-star like we have here. 4-star is sort of the 4- and 5-star are the advanced, the highest level of the sport, but 5-star really is the pinnacle. And producing these horses takes 6-7 years to get them to this level. So, you buy a 4-year-old horse like some of the ones we had at the Young Event Horse competition here, and you think, okay, so in 6 years, maybe they'll be here at the 5-star. But that's probably about as quickly as you could get them here. Maybe 5 years, but probably 6 years. So, and of course, horses get sold, or a horse might not be suitable for one rider and will get sold to another rider and might really operate for that rider in a way differently than it did for another rider. They're individuals, right? And so they all have different personalities, and it's just about finding the right fit and then managing them accordingly and getting them to these major events. And it's a big deal to get them to one of these major events, and we have horses that year in and year out keep returning to the level, and it's pretty cool to see them once they're that experienced and they really enjoy what they're doing and enjoy the relationship they have with their rider.
It's so interesting to me that men and women compete in the same events. You don't see that too often in other sports.
No, you don't. I mean, there's a few other sports, like sailing is the same way in certain sailing sports, but it's really unique. But it's not a sport where being like just strong is the answer. Like it's because there's so much to it and there's such a variety of skills needed to do it. You can see people of all, like tall people, small people, women, men, everyone can compete equally. We've had Olympic champions, female and male, and over the years, and that's just, I don't think anyone thinks about that going in, like, oh, well, that rider is male or female, therefore they would obviously have an advantage or a disadvantage. It's really who's the best on the day. It's also a sport where, people compete from, all ages, right? I mean, we still have people vying for these top spots on our teams, and they're in their early 60s. So it's not, like there's some sports where younger is better, and I think this is a sport where, yes, obviously, physically when you're younger, you're a little bit more agile. You maybe don't have as many bumps and bruises, but experience plays a huge part in this because there's no two courses are the same, no two horses are the same. So the more you do it, the more experience you get, and the more you're ready for anything that it can throw at you. So not only is it men and women competing equally, but it's very it's cross-generational, in that regard as well.
Does the course change year to year?
Every year, yeah. So the basic track that the 4-mile track that the horses run on, that is prepared by the team, and the turf, that stays pretty similar. And we reuse certain water complexes and obstacles, but they all get moved around, and the questions are all different. So you could bring a horse 5 years in a row, and it would be 5 very different courses that they would jump. The dressage test is different every year, and then the show jumping track is brand new every year too. So it's not like people do like to go to all the different events for the experience, and there's, go to Europe and compete, but you could compete at a 5-star over and over again, and it would be a pretty different experience every time.
And who's judging the competition?
So the judges we have a panel of judges that we work with our international federation. So there's 3 judges called the ground jury, and they're, a lot of times have competed at the highest level. They're all very, very knowledgeable in the sport, from England and the US this year. So we have a variety that way, but it's a pretty international sport. And they judge the dressage, and then they oversee the balance of the competition as well. Cross country is not judged as far as like who looked the most stylish when they did it. It's about jumping clear, and being safe and not adding any penalties, but they do oversee the entire competition.
How close can spectators get to the competitors and the horses?
They can get pretty close. I mean, they can stand right on the ropes of the galloping lanes when they're going around the cross country, and sit right up on the rail for the show jumping. But we also have we've heard feedback over the years at major events, but they just want to touch a horse. They want to interact with the horse. And so we have a Hall of Champions here, which it's former horses, some which have competed at the 5-star in the past, but we have, horses that have been to the Olympics, horses that have won major events, and they're down in the infield, and you can go down there, feed them treats, interact with them. Some of the riders will be down there, so you can talk to maybe Boyd Martin or Philip Dutton, because their horses are down there. So it's a pretty big deal, and they're horses that are very famous in their universe. So they're household names in the eventing community.
Okay, Joni Morris, 5-star competition director. Thanks so much for your perspective.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching the MPT Sports Desk. For everyone on the team, I'm Nancy Amata. Don't go anywhere. Our coverage of the Mars Maryland 5-star begins right now.